Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic holiday season, and I know I am, because today we're dissecting some early footage released from Caveman Studios on what some believe has the potential to be the next game of the year already. And I know that's a lot to say because we've had some absolute beasts released this year, like Asgard's Wrath 2, Arizona Sunshine 2, Vertigo 2, FNAF Help Wanted 2. Wow, there's a lot of 2s. But I definitely think that it has the potential to have a massive online player basis with a lot of amazing gameplay features. And although the game is currently in a closed alpha underneath NDA, the developers gave me the green light to make this video. Not only that, but they also sent me horizontal formats of some of their footage to make it look better for you guys on this video. Because right now they're mainly just posting clips through their TikTok account, which I will leave linked in the description for any of you that want to follow and keep up with all the released footage on the game after my video releases. And at the end of this video, I'll let all of you know how you can sign up to play this game early, even before it's released, and yes, you can play it on your standalone Quest 3, Quest 2, or any kind of headset through Steam VR. But let's go ahead and check out the initial CGI trailer to see what they revealed in there before we move on to the rest of what is all raw gameplay. Well, there wasn't a lot to show there, but we can actually draw quite a few conclusions from that short duration. You can see in the beginning that he grabs this little device and then uses it to display a holographic map. Now, it's hard to say if it's just for the cool video effects or if that's going to have actual meaning inside the game, but it looks like that could be something that's going to be used as a mini-map. So rather than flat screen games having a mini-map in the corner of your screen, it could be that this device is used to display a holographic map, or they're just using this device as a placeholder because inside VR they might just have it to where you press the A button and it makes a map pop up or something like that. Also, if they're going to show this off as a VR substitute for a flat screen map, I would have to assume that it's going to be available to everybody and not a lootable item. Although, it would be really cool if it was a lootable item that would force players to memorize the map if they didn't have one, or have a designated party leader to be the only one that has the map, so they're the designated leader and navigator. So they could make it a little bit more like Population 1, which gives everybody access to an available floating map, or they could make it a little bit more like Ghosts of Tabor, which will actually force players to understand all the map layout. You can also see from this map freeze frame that the map holder is able to not only ping a location for the rest of their team, which I'm assuming that everybody else will be able to see, but that there's going to be some indicators on the bottom right-hand corner of the map. There is a helicopter which could indicate vehicles like in COD Warzone, which would be incredible to fly around in VR if they implemented it properly. Honestly, my first assumption would be that they're indicating the vehicle that they're currently in right now, but you saw from the trailer that they're actually in a cargo plane and not a helicopter. Then the toxic symbol, which could indicate the storm or whatever form of death engulfs the map, which forces players closer together because this is a battle royale. And then you've got something that looks like a turret. In games like COD, this would normally indicate kill streaks, but I haven't seen any kill streak type items in a battle royale game so far, which could indicate that some areas have mounted turrets that players can use, or what I think is more likely, that players can purchase deployable turrets, which I'll show you my reason for during the next trailer. You can also see different character cosmetics in here, which I believe indicates that you're going to be able to customize your character model, which I believe is severely lacking from a lot of VR games. Other VR battle royale games like Population 1 have capitalized on this very well, so I would think that Contractors would go down this same route. And lastly, the cargo plane that you dive out of, and just the look of the massive map. Now, while this is a CGI trailer, I would doubt they would put a map that massive in the trailer unless they were actually going to back it up with a claim inside the game of the map being that big. Just based off of pure estimation alone, I think that it could be around 3 to 4 times the size of the Population 1 map or the island map in Ghosts of Tabor, which would be incredible to play on. But let's not get too hung up on the smaller trailer, let's dive into the meat of this showcase, the trailer they released more recently showcasing the actual gameplay footage. So there were a lot of subtle things in that trailer that I hope you were able to pick up on. Just from the first few seconds, you can see that they're adding in a vaulting system, which would be more like a COD Warzone based, as opposed to the Population 1 mechanic of climbing on every surface. You can also see from this part that they're going to have floating ammo indicators for the guns, which I'm assuming only the holder of the gun will be able to see. There are obviously going to be attachments indicated here by the laser, but we saw that later in the trailer, so I'm going to hold off on that for now. Items will spawn on shelves, as you can see on the right. Not only that, but we can see that there is lootable money, which ties into the vendor that we saw later in the trailer. That also ties into the CGI trailer on my belief about why you can be able to buy things like turrets. There's also going to be floating indicators for your health, money, and something orange above it, which I'm going to draw a prediction to later in this video. You can also see here by the orange tiger stripe and the double barrel shotgun that they're going to be adding in new guns, which are completely unique to Contractors Showdown and never before seen in regular Contractors. Which I believe that almost every gun showcased in this part of the trailer, besides the AK, is not normal to Contractors. I'm not a gun expert, so I won't attempt to name every gun in here, but oh boy do I know a bolt action when I see one, and look at that beautiful beat! From the trailer, we're also able to see new mechanics like zip lines to be able to get around the map faster, and it looks like the mechanic for getting out of the plane will be parachuting, which I'm not sure how they'll implement that into VR, but I'm definitely looking forward to it, because parachuting sounds like a thrill. You know, before I hit the ground and get thrashed due to my lack of skill. Moving on, you can also see from the next part that it says airstrike incoming, which could be something buyable, like the possible turret, or maybe something that happens in certain areas of the map. Like it could be possible that with the Battle Royale loot system being randomized, maybe one part of the map will be indicated to have better loot than the rest of it, but it has hazards like traps on the ground or random airstrikes incoming. I think that would add an interesting dynamic to the whole map of it, because it's like, hey, do you want to go out here where there's not a lot of players, not a lot of loot, and you don't have to engage people early on, or you can go into the hotbed where there's a lot of other players but also just crap raining down on top of you. And you can see from this part that they'll have a brand new guided throwing mechanic for Contractors Showdown. This part really doesn't indicate anything, but I just love how you're able to deck out even a pistol. Now, I did say that I would come back to the attachments. It's assumed, of course, that you're going to be able to have things like normal suppressors, scopes, lasers, as indicated by the trailer, but it looks like you'll be able to loot attachments and put them on your gun mid-battle. And I would be interested to see if they had any stat bars on these guns, like you put a suppressor on it and you can see that it increases the recoil but decreases something else. Similar to the mechanics of Ghosts of Tabor, and a little bit less like the mechanic of Population 1, where you find a gun that has a better rarity and does more damage. Also, I'm really not sure if there is anything in this part or not, but this could indicate that they're going to have a mechanic that jostles your gun as you run to make it harder to, well, run and gun, making it more realistic than somebody being able to hold a massive firearm blasting 100 bullets running at 30 miles an hour. Now, I did say that I was going to come back to the orange indicators. Now, from this freeze frame here, you can see right here, it says next to the sniper, armor plate, and there are 2 in the container and 2 bars above your health, which could indicate that this is your armor level. And the look of them is pretty similar to the COD Warzone plates, so I would have to assume that this is armor. And as much as I tried to, I could not for the life of me figure out what that little chip thing was on the left, but if you have any suggestions or something that you hope it is, feel free to leave it in the comments. Now, this part is really interesting. Like how I said before in the CGI trailer that you might be able to buy turrets, you can see here that there is a munitions vendor where you can spend money and buy things if you can't find what you need. And something interesting is that they specifically called it the munitions vendor rather than just the vendor, indicating that there could be other vendors out there where you buy cool things from, like turrets. Also, you can see here from the guns list that they're going to be adding in the Origin 12, the AK Alpha, the HK416, and the RFB, which are all not in the original Contractors game. And in most games, the only attachment you can really put on the end of the gun is a silencer, but they're adding in a compensator, which could indicate that each muzzle attachment could affect the stats of the gun. And they're also adding in new grenades like detection and radiation. I'm not really too sure what radiation could be, maybe having something to do with the properties of the storm, like the Pop 1 AoE grenades as indicated by the radiation sign on the CGI trailer. The detection grenade can maybe be used to detect loot or players and either highlight them through walls or have it pop up on your map from the CGI trailer that was shown there. They also have a new backpack inventory system. It kind of reminds me of the COD Warzone inventory where things are stackable, but only to an extent. There are spots for storage, but for some reason the sniper ammo takes up 2 spots, indicating that you could only have a certain amount of ammo in one spot before it needs another inventory spot. There seems to also be an indicator for upgrades. You can see here that there is a backpack symbol with arrows pointing up and a lock symbol on the bottom 3 spots of the inventory, indicating that you could upgrade your storage, and the other spots there are probably for other upgrades. Also, the clarity on the new scope is just immaculate. It looks so crisp and clean. I love it. Lastly, this is something that was just released the other day. The aspect ratio on it isn't the best, but I do want to show it to all of you anyway, because there are a few cool things in here from their recent TikTok post.
There are more than 20 scopes in the game that are compatible with most weapons. Not only the looks are special, but also the reticles are different. The different scopes on XM5 show that each can perform well in different situations. Vortex is able to perform a variable zoom. The SRS sight is way more easier to focus your view on pistol. The aiming position of Aimpoint T1 is much higher than Dr. Sight. You can change the scopes freely via the workbench in the HQ.
I actually have been enjoying their TikTok posts recently because a lot of them are pretty factual. It's not really trailers where we're drawing our own conclusions. They stated facts. Like from this intro, we can know for a fact that there are over 20 scopes. It was pretty cool to see the different types of scopes and how they perform too. I'm sure that a lot of you that are very into firearm scopes will enjoy dissecting that a lot and enjoy this aspect of Contractors Showdown, and I especially love that they're adding in a variable zoom. But there was one thing that stood out to me above all else at the very end, and I think you guys are gonna like this. They specifically mentioned this gun workbench where they are testing the scopes at, and you can see in the background that they're going to have skins, sprays, and pendants. I am so excited to have cosmetics inside of a Contractors game because it's something that myself and others in the Contractors community have wanted for so long. They did have the limited time cosmetic events, but not anything like a permanent progression system. I'm guessing that maybe the skin will be the style and the spray will be the background color. This orange tiger skin is from the previous trailer. The tiger stripes might be the skin and the background orange being the spray. Also, the fact that now we get gun pendants? I am really excited for how this is gonna look in VR because I have yet to see a VR game with gun pendants that wasn't a mod. There are so many amazing mechanics to look forward to in this upcoming game and so many things to unlock. If what I said is true with all of the gun skins, character skins, pendants, at the very least there's going to be a massive amount of progression in there. I just hope that they didn't reveal all of their tricks because if there's going to be more to unlock, then we're in for a real treat. And did I just make a Halloween joke during Christmas time? You're darn right I did. If you want to test Contractors Showdown early, I'll be leaving a link in the description below about the application that you can use for it. I'll also be leaving a link to a new program that's been gaining traction recently where you can test other VR games before they even release through a program known as Impact Labs. And lastly, if you want a complete comprehensive list of a bunch of cool VR games to play that I've enjoyed myself in, I just launched a new website and I'll be adding more games to it very soon. I hope you all have a phenomenal rest of your 2023, and I'll see you in the next one.